If you're a music lover, a musician, or you just like to cruise, you'll want to listen to tonight's episode of Music Talks. We'll give you an interview with a Rolling Stone rock band that has rocked our world 6 nights a week, 3 sets a night on Holland, America's Nieuw Statendam. It's July 2022. I got to tell you, we are huge fans. We have been on, I think, 3 of the pinnacle class Holland America ships that have the Rolling Stone rock band, and you guys have just blown us away. We were here before you guys got on, but we were here actually for your first sound check, and then when you guys came out and did that first set, it just kind of blew our minds. It's really good. Love the arrangements, love the performance, obviously love technical skills that you all have, but the arrangements, just the play on stage with each other and the audience, it really blows our mind.
I'm Ryan Kinley. I play bass in the band. I've been doing the Rock Room since it launched in 2018, and I was on the Konigsdam my first time while 3 of these guys were together on this ship, actually launching the brand just a couple of weeks ahead of me. I've been playing for a living since 2001. Had an original band that was signed to Epitaph Records, traveled the world for like 7-8 years with that, and just still had a passion for playing, and just continued, and just, you know, moved in 2014 to Nashville because that's where all the gigs are now, and found my way 4 years later into this, and now this is my band, and this is the way I want it, because I don't want to start over, you know.
I go by the name Kickman Teddy. I've been playing all my life. Started playing professionally around 2002. I got signed in 2006 to 10 Man Records, owned by Justin Timberlake and Interscope Records out of LA. And we was pretty well known and touring. Got a chance to work alongside of some amazing producers as well known in musical outlets. So 2018 I started doing the Rolling Stones. Before I was doing the BBs, who had the Rolling Stones at first, and RWS took over in 2018.
During the pandemic.
Yeah, during the pandemic, they took over. And I'm still with the band, so I'm elated. Great group of guys to be around and share the stage with. So that's pretty much my background. I've been playing all my life.
Jennifer, when you do anything by Prince, she was just totally lost. I love your vocals.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Not too many drummers sing.
Well,
it's a strong tradition.
Hey, Phil was one of the best to do it. So I grew up, you know, listening to Phil a lot. It's one of my biggest influences.
Hi.
You're so shy.
I know.
Shy guy.
Until his guitar goes on, and then he's not shy.
I don't know what to do with my hands. My name is Max Sweeney. On stage I go by McMillan, that's my middle name. That's what I release music underneath. I've been playing since I was about 10 years old, and singing about that long too. And honestly, I haven't been doing music as long as these guys, for sure. I mean, I don't have quite the accolades that they have under their belt, but I'm just I'm just grateful to get to perform with these guys. I started Rolling Stone Rock Room in 2021, last year in September, and I was supposed to be put with a completely different band. But the guy who was going to put me on the ship, he was like, I think you'll work better with these other group of guys. And I went, okay, I'll trust you. And he's like, the ship's going to Amsterdam. And I said, say no more, let's go. But yeah, that's me. I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, and that's where I get all my influences from too.
Do you do any songwriting?
I do.
Well, thanks for having us. I appreciate it. And,
Thanks for coming.
it's good to be here. So my name is Michael Burgess. I'm originally from Richmond, Virginia, and started playing professionally since 2009. And I played 4 years with an international traveling blues band, and did 3 years in the IBCs, and put out an album and was nominated for 2 Grammys in the 4 years. Got beat up by Buddy Guy, which sucks, but understandable. Outside of that, 2018 and 2019, decided to do something different, so I moved to Nashville, and that's when I met up with these guys, Teddy and Mike, and did the Rolling Stone Rock Room. Ever since, I've been doing that band. Just pretty much kept with the music, stayed with it, worked a lot with Mike on original tunes, got 2 singles out. Here I am now, just still kicking it.
My name is Mike Sweet, piano player, vocalist in a band, and singing since 5, playing piano since 10. My dad is a guitar player, taught me pretty much everything I know. Took 11 years of choir throughout school, did all Southwest, all that jazz. Started playing out in the Memphis scene, started getting opportunities with certain Memphis artists, done Jimmy Kimmel Live, NAMM show, had a couple TV placements. I want more. But yeah, that's just me in a nutshell, and I do a lot of production, songwriting.
You've all sort of touched on this when you were talking about your backgrounds, but can you just maybe expand on what are your influences? Because I hear things when Michael, you, like when you're doing Tom Petty or any of the Southern rock kind of stuff, I hear like a Southern heritage or something.
Yeah.
What do you listen to? What are your influences?
So, well, definitely a lot of it I grew up listening to, a lot of classic rock.
Yeah.
A lot of that was, especially in my guitar playing, which you can hear, a lot of that was more of, I got into like Leonard Skinner and Marshall Tucker Band, just all the really southern accolades of that. And like Gary Rossington was my biggest thing growing up. And until I got into the blues, and then it was like, Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan on the rock side, because, down at heart, I wasn't, 100% all with the blues, because I like all sorts of music.
Sure.
And I just love the way that they expressed it. And, in blues, I just got into like Elmore James and stuff like that. And I just grew from that. I'm like a musical sponge. I hear something and I can, figure out how it works with the way that I play it.
I like to, I've been liking classic rock my whole life. My dad was actually a bouncer growing up. He had really huge muscles, and so he would just he'd be in his clothes.
I saw that movie.
And he'd be the guy in the front row, and he'd be like, if they tried to climb on the stage, he'd throw them back. But he got to meet all these bands. Like he got to meet Gene Simmons and Whitesnake and party with all these guys. And so that's the kind of music I listened to growing up.
And that's how you got so shy.
That's how I got so shy. But as I started to find my own voices and the stuff I like to listen to, my guitar playing really got shaped by John Mayer growing up, which led me to Stevie Ray Vaughan, which led me to Prince, and then vocally, which led me to Stevie Wonder and all these kinds of influences, and Justin Timberlake.
I can hear all the arrangements.
Yeah, and I wanted to learn how to sing really high, and so whenever I learned how to drive, I was like, cool, a perfect place not in the house to practice my vocals. So that's how that came out.
I was kind of all over the place. I didn't really have a set genre to really listen to. It was just free will in our house. We was able to listen to whatever we wanted. You would be listening to Gladys Knight one day and the OJs the next day. So, but I was kind of the weird kid. I listened to classical music just to put me to sleep, and it just kind of took off from there. It just sunk in, and I knew that growing up, there was something kind of different about me that wasn't like other kids because they would like mock me for it.
Yeah.
So I didn't let it bother me. I just kept doing it. So for me, Prince was one of my main influences.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, Huey Lewis, Phil Collins. The list goes on. So
Yeah.
I wasn't put in a box. I just listened to whatever my ear gravitated to. That's pretty much me.
I mean, I grew up in a very large family where both my parents were one of 7. So there's like, we have enough cousins to field a football team. And we used to get together and, you know, just like exchange records and stuff like that all the time. And my one cousin, Sean, and my older brothers were really big, coming from being born in the 70s, loving rock. And when all that 80s stadium rock, you know, Def Leppard, Motley Crue, all that, and the thrash metal, my brothers and older cousins that I was closest to were really into that stuff. And it really pushed me in that direction. But being a young kid, I was still into like the modern pop. I was like really about Michael Jackson. And, you know, like Thriller came out, and I was the craziest kid in upstate New York. It'd be like everyone had to listen to Thriller. I made all my friends listen to the whole album. They were like, "Come on, man, put Metallica back on." I'm like, Thriller. Thriller. You know, and it's just like, it led me to a place where all these like hybrids of pop sensibilities, but like very guttural playing and very aggressive sounds. And my original band, kind of all of us right around the same time in like '95 when that punk wave hit radio, like Offspring and all those bands really affected us. And I went into like a very punk route. My original band is early 2000s punk. But like, you'd never guess it, my favorite bass player is Billy Joel's bass player, Doug Stegmeyer. It's everywhere, because, you know, music is just all the same sequence of notes. Like, I listen to Latin music, I don't know what they're saying.
Right.
No idea what I'm listening to.
You feel it.
We could be talking about Tide Pods for all I know, but I'm singing along.
I'm curious about gear. I talked to Mike about the concept and getting you guys together. Do you bring your own gear? Those are your pedal boards, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Your
Pedal.
guitars?
Yes.
Okay, but not your drums, right?
I just brought cymbals and a foot
Cymbals?
pedal.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's the ship's amps and keyboards too.
Okay.
The beauty of
Imagine having to fly with a
But
drum kit.
like the amp
Man.
you're using, the
It's
the
a
small Fender, is that
it's a tube.
is that what you would use at home? Or?
I usually use a Blues Deluxe at home, but it's
Okay.
pretty much kind of the same kind of deal.
Okay, it's very close.
Bringing my board over here was pretty tough because I mean, in the modern day, a lot of pedal boards are looked down upon because it's so easy to get like a Kemper or something like that, and you can fit it in your case.
Yeah.
I had to take all my pedals and wrap them in T-shirts and assemble it all and break it down and
I can imagine.
Put the pedal board in my
and
suitcase.
put it in your Ryan, do you have any room?
I am curious about. I'm a guitarist, so I'm really curious about the two guitars. I mean, how you guys with Mike maybe decide on when you're working on arrangements, who's going to take solos. It's probably not an accident that you're playing with humbucking pickups and you're playing with single coils to kind of get a different sonic range. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's by
Sometimes
design.
on certain songs, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I gravitate. My guitar is just different. It's not really even from the U.S., but it's just
It's a nice looking
it's a
guitar.
Maltese guitar, which is you don't really see those guitars very often.
Yeah.
But if I'm playing, I do like using a lot of humbuckers a lot.
Yeah.
Which those are Fat 50 pickups. They're Stu Mags,
Okay.
which are phenomenal.
Those are nice.
Yeah.
You know, and but my Strat, I have Wendy Freelands in them. And
Okay.
I just certain types of single coils.
Yeah.
I've never been a very fun or been a big fan of the Fender stock pickups. I've never really liked those. I just think they're just too thin. And Lindy knows how to really coil them up to make it sound perfect for whatever you're doing. I've got like 2 vintage pickups. I got one in my the bridge and one in the middle, and I've got a blues pickup that he made on the neck.
I'm all excited about all this. As far as engagement with the audience, like I said, you guys just do that so well. And if they're not, you will go out there and get them. I loved it the other night when you were singing. You asked Michael to go out in the audience and find your woman, and he tried.
Girl.
And you'll go out with your wireless, on your bass. But you guys really do a great job of engaging. And I was teasing you about being so shy because, so Mike, that first night we listened to the sound check, and it was just kind of a sound check, and we'd been here for the last band, and I kind of expected more of the same. But when you guys came out for the first set, and you just you do that, and it's like
Stadium.
No filter. Because there are all kinds of bands out there. You see these great technical bands that they're rock gods or whatever, and they're not even looking at the audience. And then you see the shoegazers who just look down, and you're out there. You're all out there. And when you go out in the audience, Michael, you're singing like last night, the Allman Brothers song, which you really sing really well.
Oh, thanks. One Way Out.
Yeah, and you're singing at the end, and that just is amazing, engaging with the crowd. So how, with your personalities, how do you express your energy on the stage?
It's interesting because like a lot of we get a lot of direction from Mike because Mike has a.
Is that what the talkback?
The talkback mic.
Do something.
We hear it out
this audience out.
and like we'll do a lot of really spontaneous stuff that he'll come up with. Like he'll be like, take it up a half step, whole step, and we'll be playing a chord or something, and we'll be finishing a song, and he's just like, watch me. Again.
We play follow the leader a lot. We definitely play follow the leader.
And so a lot of that energy, there's a lot of energy where we come together and like we're one solid unit. But there's lots of times where our personalities are able to come out and play off of each other. Like I know you and me, like we can take solos on stuff or do harmony parts, and, like back to back or right next to each other.
Right. Yeah.
How much time did you guys spend on that? Was that in the 2 weeks of rehearsal? You had worked all that. You're doing unison riffs.
We've done.
Certain things grow and like change since rehearsals, like especially me and Mike being on opposite sides of the stage, having like a big drum wall between us and stuff. We interact a lot by just giving each other the look and be like, I'm gonna play your part. And just give each other a little nod, like
I feel that comes with a lot of like years of playing. This is
trusting
collectively
each other.
Our second contract together.
Yeah.
And a lot of that just comes with that, and for like me, Mike, and Teddy, this is our 4th contract together.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of that kind of grows together.
Some things can be. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Some things can just be spontaneous sometimes on stage. Sometimes I find these guys, like even little dance moves that they do now, it's like, you didn't do that in rehearsal. Now it's like, we just having fun now. It's like, we can let our hair down and enjoy ourselves and please the crowd like we want to please them. And we don't have a limit anymore. Now we can just stretch out and be us. So it feels good that way. Organic.
It's coming across that way, it really does. Speaking of pleasing the crowd, I mentioned to Mike as well that in that first week you picked up a couple of very young fans.
surviving the rock room.
And I would say you have won their hearts and souls. And all it takes is just somewhere that's it's like Beatlemania 1964.
It's so funny. It's like they're like right in front of me, but there's no one else there. And I'm just like, Wow. But it is in a wholesome way. Like I've talked to those girls, I've talked to their parents. They're having the time of their life, and I will continue to perform for them because you never know. One of those girls might go home next week and be like, "Dad, I want a drum set." You have no idea what you can do to someone's life by just being genuine. And like we play off their energy, and if they're not giving us energy, we give it to them, and we just don't accept it. But unless it's a late port and no one's there, and then we're like,
But just knowing that they enjoying the music and to see them interact with those songs that we do, like a lot of those songs are like early 70s, 60s. To see them appreciate it means that much more to us.
Well, Mike talked about this, how much both the music business has changed, but music has changed. You know, when we, not you, when I was a kid, I mean, I bought the whole album, I listened to the whole album, I had my favorite bands, I knew everything in their collection. And, you know, people are just streaming a song and they're not listening to it. And so when I see you with this audience, and they know the songs you're playing, they know everything, you know, the lyrics, they know the band, they probably know the original recording, they know the solos, they know when you're improvising and doing something like that. They, you know, it's powerful, it's really magic. So what is your daily routine? You know, what do you do to keep? Well, I have imagined because you know, are you sleeping till like 4 o'clock?
Today I did.
Well, honestly, you know, it's you know, pretty much for me, I try to preserve my energy as much as possible because when you have, I call it virtue, when you have people constantly touching you or talking to you, it can drain you, and it's like you won't have anything to give on stage because it's like you have people, some of the same questions are being asked, you know, and it's so like, you know, you almost feel like a robot at times, you know, and so it's like, well, I'd rather just gather up enough energy by myself because I still have to like keep my mental in check, you know, and we all have like setups in our room too, so we all have personal projects we're working on too, so everybody, you know, we just, you know, need some studio time or whatever, or, you know, movie or just anything to get, because 4 months is a long time to be without your own transportation, to be away from family and all that stuff. So you have to make sure, and when you're in front of people, you want to have a good attitude, you know. And sometimes if I don't get time to myself, I can get grumpy. So.
Oh yeah, I have a new single out.
Yes,
called
sir.
Shaking It Fast, and it's by Kickman Teddy. And it's on iTunes, Spotify, pretty much all of the outlets, the digital outlets out there. So if you want to go check it out, Kickman Teddy, Shaking It Fast, look it up.
It bumps.
YouTube.
YouTube.
You're all plugged in.
I dropped something the same weekend as Teddy. I put out an entire EP of 6 songs. It's called Iota. If you can look it up under Macmillan, which is spelled McMillin, and I produced all the tracks myself and wrote all of them and sang on all of them.
Don't plug myself in, you know. I've got 2 singles out, Sweeter and Ride for Miles, that came out last year. You can find them on Spotify and iTunes, YouTube. Just look under Michael W. Burgess as artist, and my producer is right here, Mr. Mike Sweet.
Produced by Mike Sweet.
Super
producer.
And then I don't have anything current modern right now that I've been releasing. My original band called Matchbook Romance. We did really well though. Like we're in Guitar Hero and we're all over the place. We still get like 7 million Spotify listens a year and stuff. You could find it at all the places. YouTube, Pandora, everything. iTunes, all that stuff.
I have an EP that I released during the pandemic called Days of Our Lives. Got some additional writing from Teddy on there, and features a few people. I have a lot of other projects coming out that I'm working on in Nashville, so I'm excited about that. So, be on the lookout. Oh, and you can find it under Mike Sweet. Sorry.
That's
I expect people to know that.
Well, guys, thank you so much.
Absolutely, our pleasure.
We're going to
Thank
keep
you.
coming.
Thank
Thank you, sir.
Dude, thank you guys.
Thank you.
He wasn't